Let us get started. I think a few more teachers are yet to join. Uh, okay, so today what we have planned is we'll be covering mainly ChatGPT 4, and we'll be trying to see what all different things can be done using GPT 4. And after that, we'll also cover some portions that we were planning to cover in today's lecture actually. But because yes, last week we did not have the lecture. Initially, we'll completely cover that lecture, and after that, we will cover today's lecture also. So it will be somewhat of an extended lecture today, so that we make sure that we are on track. Dr. Raj will now start in the first section, and he will start by sharing his screen.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Rajat. So let me share my screen. I hope the screen is visible to all of you.
Visible.
Okay, great. So this particular lecture is one of the most favorite of all of the teachers which we have seen so far, because some of the things we are going to demonstrate just completely enhances the entire teaching learning experience in schools. So most of the applications which we will be covering today rely on GPT-4. So the first distinction which we want to make is this thing here. If you go to ChatGPT, there are two options. There is a GPT-4 option and there is GPT 3.5. And the free version is GPT 3.5. So mostly all of us on this call probably are using GPT 3.5. Can everyone just type in the chat which version of the chat GPT they are using? Are they using the free version or the paid version? Just to get a sense of what everyone in this call uses for chat GPT. If you could just go ahead and type it in the chat. So Kuldeep sir has mentioned that he's free version. Purushottam sir has also mentioned that he's using free version. Yes, Prachi ma'am, GPT 3.5. So that's the free version. Okay, so that's what we had assumed. But one thing which we would really like to clarify or rather elaborate in this call is that GPT-4 has a huge number of advantages compared to GPT 3.5. GPT 3.5 is very good as it's mentioned here for everyday tasks. But as teachers, if you really want to take your teaching to the next level, as we'll show during this call, GPT-4 has huge number of benefits. And the costing is just $20 per month. So if for your school, if you take one subscription for all the teachers, then that would really work out very good. So what we recommend is for an entire school to take one or two subscriptions and then share the details among all their teachers. We'll also come towards that towards the end. Hopefully, we will demonstrate all the applications of GPT-4, which will convince you that maybe it is the right option for you. So the first application which we'll be looking at is image input. Up till now, we have seen text input, chat GPT, which is like uh, explain the concept of human or let's say plant cell. This is text input. So all of us have been interacting through this text-based format so far. But ChatGPT 4 gives you an option to go one step further, and you can basically attach images here through this small icon on the left-hand side. And with this feature, you can basically completely change your teaching experience. Let me give you some examples. First, let us take a look at application which is understanding complex images. I'm sure many of you in this call would be using textbooks, and there are some images which we come across in textbook or certain sections which are just not very clear, and they are explained in a very complex manner. And we as teachers really want to break it down into simple steps for the students. So I have, let's say, this image here, and I do not understand what's going on in this particular image. And it's very complex for the grade. Let's say I'm teaching it for grade 6 or 7. So I just upload this image here. Again, let me show you. I've clicked on this paper clip icon on the bottom left, and I will just upload this image, and then I will ask uh, this image in my biology textbook for class 6 students. it is very complex and students can't understand. I want to teach this in my class. In my class, can you please break it down into simpler concepts? Maybe in the format of Christmas, since Christmas is coming, Christmas theme. Basically, now we can upload images like this and ask ChatGPT that whatever you want. So basically, it can go through the image and it can understand even if the image is blurred. Here you can see some of the text is blurred out, but ChatGPT can completely scan the entire contents of the image and then it can give the explanation in a relatable format. So here you can see cell wall has been called the gift box, plasma membrane has been called wrapping paper, cytoplasm has been called the packaging peanuts, nucleus the Christmas star, etc. Now you can print this, take it to class the next day and explain when this image comes. You can just explain using these particular explanations which ChatGPT has come up. Not just this, the applications are actually of this image input feature are very wide ranging. So let's say you're teaching the health and wellness concept, health and well-being of CBSE. And let's say there is a PDF. I think it is illness PDF, CBSE, something like that. Yeah. Okay. So let's say, why do we fall ill is this particular chapter. And there is this image, which is not, you think it is very quickly explained. And you just want to explain this in a much better manner. What you can just do is take a screenshot. So I'm just taking a screenshot right now. And I'm just uploading it here. Can you, and then I say, can you clearly explain what is going on in this image? It looks very much complex and not clearly explained. So whichever textbook you're reading, whatever you're going through, you can just take a photo of it and upload to ChatGPT immediately, and it will immediately tell you whatever you have asked it. So here it can say that now it breaks this concept down into simpler concepts or more easily understandable concepts, and it just makes the whole image much more clearer to understand. Again, you can see that many things in this image are blurred, but ChatGPT can completely make out those things and it can give the response in a very comprehensive manner. Second thing which you can do as teachers and instructors is, let's say there is an exercise section toward the end, like this, and you want answers to this. Now just copy pasting and typing and looking at some random site on the internet. What we can do is we can just take a screenshot of this right now here, and I can upload this here, and I can say that give me comprehensive answers to all the questions here for class 9 students. And then I press enter. Now you can see that immediately ChatGPT recognizes that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions. And now it is currently giving the answer to the first question. So the first question is, find out how he or she, the doctor or nurse, avoids getting sick themselves. So it gives an answer to this question in a lot of detail. Similarly, slowly it gives answer to question 2, question 3. And you can see here that it also gives the explanation that option C is likely the correct answer because fasting can weaken the immune system. And if person has just recovered from malaria, their body may still be recovering from illness. Basically, what we are trying to convey here is that if you want explanations for images, or if you want explanations to answers, you can just take a photo and upload it here. Now there is no need to rely on Google or any other company or any other service, because GPT-4 essentially can scan images and give you complete answers very quickly and more accurate answers also, because it has information from all the sources in the world. So the first application of GPT-4 really is understanding complex images wherever they come up as you're explaining a concept. The second application of GPT-4 and especially the image input feature is making classes themselves more engaging. Now, let's say you're teaching a history class, okay, and you want to basically one way of teaching is just when this is a particular photo in the Indian freedom movement. One way is to just explain about it, etc. The second way is basically to upload this image in front of the class and ask them that what do you see in this image? What are the protests about? Basically, you can even show this entire demonstration in front of the class itself. And you'll see that after some time, ChatGPT basically analyzes this image and then it comes up with the answer that this. So currently it's showing that the image is related to Equity India movement, and then it mentions about this particular movement and the time at which this movement happened. But I think here the format of the image which we uploaded was a different format. So let me upload actually PNG format. Yeah, let me upload this PNG image and let me again try to ask the same thing. Okay, so now hopefully the format is being recognized. Earlier, you can see that here it says this was some .avi format. Okay, great. Now it shows that this image shows a historical photograph of a group of Indian individuals participating in a protest. They are holding banners, one of which prominently displays the slogan "Simon, go back," etc. Now, teachers, think about how creative you can be with this image input feature. You can just upload an image of, let's say, World War One or World War Two, and ask about the clothes which people were wearing during the army battalion, and ask about basically look at image features and try to figure out what era of history did this belong to, why was this the particular way, then what are people protesting here. Basically things can be taught in a much more visual manner than they were being taught before. And this is not just related to history or geography or science, it can even be related to art. So let's say this is a particular painting which is very famous. I'm sure some teachers in this call know about this painting. It is actually called the Starry Night. So, what is this painting about? What is its significance? We'll wait for some time because I have uploaded so many images. But okay, immediately ChatGPT gave the answer that this is a painting which was painted in June 1889, and the reason it is famous is for all these reasons: artistic technique, representation of night, historical context, cultural impact, etc. And you can basically extend this to the art class. I request everyone to please be muted. Sure. So basically, imagine you are conducting your art and drawing class, and students, there are 10, 20 students, and everyone has drawn something different. What you can do is you can even upload multiple of such images in ChatGPT and ask to compare the styles of different students. So this image input feature, we can basically upload multiple images. So this is the first image. I can upload it as many times as possible. So I can even upload 10 or 20 images here, and I can ask ChatGPT to look at these images and compare the drawing styles or the artistic styles which have been employed by the students. And you'll be amazed as to the answers which this tool gives. To our human eye, maybe all the drawings look similar, but maybe some students are using a more creative strokes. Some students are paying a lot more attention to detail. And this can even tell us many things about how students are thinking. So this is actually called artistic evaluation and even art integration in schools, which the NEP 2020 has given a tremendous focus on. Even geography can sometimes be boring to students, but with this tool, what you can do, let's say with the entire class, you take them down to the ground and you collect a photo of the soil over there. So let's say the soil looks something like this. You collect a photo of the soil, then you come back to class, then you show it to ChatGPT live in front of the students, and you can ask, have a look at this soil image. Does this look healthy? Is it fertile? and then ChatGPT can immediately take a look at the quality of the soil basically and give the answer. So here it's saying that I'm unable to view images directly, but in general, I can provide some general pointers on how to determine if a soil appears healthy and fertile. Basically, what ChatGPT does is that whatever image you upload in real time, it can immediately say how is the quality of the soil, whether it is fertile, whether it is not fertile, can crops grow here, and then you can even ask, what can I do to make it more fertile? And this teaches students so many things. In if you have done this demonstration in front of students by taking a photo of the actual soil in your school, they will never forget this. This is so much better than just explaining about how to make soil fertile and uh, in which is the healthy soil in which plants grow, etc. So this way classes for any subject can be made tremendously engaging. Here we have just showed for uh, this soil, right, and geography. But think about whichever subject you are teaching, whether it's IT, and if you want to make students more engaged, you can just take a photo, upload it in front of the students, and ask them what it means. If your school has some posters in the class or chart papers about computers, just go in front of the students, take a photo, upload it, and ask about what is the historical context, etc. The whole classroom basically with this tool can be completely transformed. Another thing which we want to explain here is the historical evolution. So there are some concepts in which, as teachers, we want to explain the history of this concept. Oh, let me just, yeah, the history of that particular concept, like when, what led to this particular concept, or how was this discovered. So let me just take this thing here and try to ask, what is this image? What is the historical significance of what is being shown in this image? Okay. So now what will happen is that ChatGPT, first of all, will clearly understand what this is. That this is a magnesium ribbon which is being burnt and a very bright light or a white light is being produced. But it does not stop there. To keep the students more engaged, it can even tell about the historical significance of magnesium dates back to its use in photography, where its bright light was valuable for flash photography in the early 20th century. Moreover, its used in educational settings for science demonstrations has made it staple in chemistry classrooms to teach students about reaction energetics and the property of metals. Immediately you can start seeing the applications of this, right? Sometimes students are bored because they don't understand why this is being taught to us. But if you explain to them the historical context about how we got to this concept in the first place, what is the meaning of why we are teaching this to you in class, then they will be so much more engaged. So in this first section, what I want you to take away with is that these are applications which we just showed for some subjects: biology, history, art, geography, and chemistry. But whichever subject you are teaching, whatever it is, GPT-4 can completely transform the way you are teaching because of this image feature. GPT 3.5, which is the free version, it's restricted to text. You cannot upload documents to analyze, you cannot upload images. So it just becomes very restrictive. This is one of the main reasons why we have now all transitioned to GPT-4. And to teachers and students who are want to truly use the power of AI, right? We are all recommending them to really make the switch to GPT-4. In the rest of the presentation, we'll see similar advantages and uses of GPT-4 and some great applications which are very exciting. So now let us come to the next part, which Dr. Sridhar will be going through. It's about how GPT-4 can be utilized by teachers for doing one of the tasks which takes some time, grading papers.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Raj. So before I start my session, I just have a quick question to all the teachers here. All of you, I assume, at least some of you will grade papers after exams, right? And some of you are teaching English, some of you are teaching science, IT, various subjects. In general, on an average, if there are 40 students in the class, can you just type in the chat how much time do you take to evaluate the answer sheets of the entire class for one particular exam, unit test, or mid-semester exam or something like that? Could you just put it in chat? whether it will take you 4 hours, 5 hours, or even how much time does it take to evaluate one student's answer sheet. If the answer sheet is 5 or 6 or 7 pages, how much time does it take? Can you put it in chat? I'll wait until I get responses. Okay, 80 marks will take 3 hours. So Kuldeep sir, this is for 3 hours is for the entire class, or I assume it's for entire class, right? Yeah, 3 hours, 4 to 5 hours, Prachi ma'am, and any other responses? Yeah. So yeah, this is exactly the kind of number we got in the previous batches also when we asked the teachers. Generally, they were saying, yeah, so each student 15 to 20 minutes for 80 mark paper. And if there are 40 students, then it's like almost in every hour you can cover maybe 4 or 5 papers. If there are 40 for 50 students, it could take you even more than 8 hours. I don't know, like maybe you will get faster towards the end, but basically you will be spending a lot of time. And we have asked a lot of teachers, typically this time you have to spend after you go home, right? You may not get time to do this in the school or every time. Sometimes you will have to take the time out of the family time. But yeah, 4 to 5 hours is very typical. So now let's see, in all of these examples that Dr. Raj covered, how can you actually use ChatGPT to help you evaluate papers or responses from students, and also give a personalized feedback, which is very important. If student has written something, you want to give a feedback that is corresponding to that student's response rather than something generic. So I just want to go through some examples in terms of grading paper. So firstly, let's I hope this screen is visible to everyone. So I just want to show you one example first. So this was an example where student was trying to mark some of the states, right? So Madhya Pradesh has been marked as Maharashtra, Maharashtra as Karnataka. Oh, I'll just stop and share once again. Is it visible? Okay. So here you can see that this is a map of India where the student had marked Madhya Pradesh as Maharashtra, Maharashtra as Karnataka, Karnataka as Kerala. These are some obvious mistakes. So what you could do here is you could actually, to evaluate this. So this is a very small example. You don't need an exam. You don't need the help of an AI system to evaluate this because it's pretty easy. But I just want to show you how you could do it in practice. So let's say you take the scan copy of all the student responses, right? You can put it in a scanner. You can get all the scan copy. And then you go to ChatGPT. Obviously, it has to be GPT-4. Otherwise, you can't upload images. But basically, you can paste the image, and just tell your query. Here are 3 states in India marked. The marking might be wrong. Please identify the mistakes. We will see from our experience. Sometimes ChatGPT also make mistakes because it's a complex image. Indian map is not a simple image, but we will see. Yeah. So basically, this part ChatGPT has gotten this part correct, but the way ChatGPT has identified the solution is wrong because it says Maharashtra is correctly placed at the top of the 3 label states. So basically, ChatGPT could not read the image like the text input here. Although the states are all map, everything is correct. The way it is denoted is wrong. So the thing is, you can just mention. So sometimes when ChatGPT, you realize that in 1 or 2 attempts, ChatGPT is making mistakes. You can just say, actually, all states are labeled wrong. Then it will try to come up with the correct response. Yeah, so basically, what they're saying is move the Maharashtra label slightly to the west to include the coastline. So basically, what they're saying is Maharashtra is labeled here. We have to move it to the west, west meaning towards here, to the coastline, which is correct. So it's getting the basic idea correct. Maharashtra is towards the coast. Maharashtra is having a coast. Madhya Pradesh does not have a coast. And it's also saying place the Kerala label to the far southwest coast, below the corrected position of Karnataka. So basically, currently Kerala is placed here. It's not far southwest. Far southwest is here because this is south and west is also to the left side of the map. So this label has to be moved here. So, so now ChatGPT is able to get it correctly. Now what you can actually do is, if you have an answer key, right? If you have a correct labeling of a map, you can provide that to ChatGPT and then ask it to compare the answer key with this wrong set of label map, and then it can make it correct. So this is one example where, in geography or social studies, you can make use of ChatGPT in evaluating student responses. But let's now go into a bit more complex example, which is a math problem. So here, I'm just showing you a math problem. I hope everyone can see this particular problem. So there are actually three problems here. It's an assignment. It's a linear equation of one variable and find x. So here it is 2x, 2 multiplied by x plus 3 is 16. So we know how to expand this, right? So 2x plus 6 equal to 16. So 2x should be 10, x is 5. So we can see that the student has done this correctly. However, in the second case, let's say in this set of equation, 3 multiplied by x plus 6 equal to 21. So 3x plus 18, 21, which means 3x is 3. So x should be ideally 1. But the student has got the answer wrong here. Student has gotten x equal to 2. And similarly, in the last problem, 8x equal to 60, which means x should be actually 60 by 8. And 60 by 8 is not equal to 8, right? So the final solution is wrong. So here, although the final answer is wrong in all of these last two cases, there is merit to some of the things that the student did, because the way they have expanded the bracket is correct. They have tried to simplify it in a correct way. Here also, they have gotten it almost correct till the last step. So now let's see how we can use ChatGPT to evaluate this math paper. So what we can do is we can upload the paper here and tell I am a math teacher. So if you remember from the prompt engineering, I am a math teacher and I'm grading papers. These are 3 questions and each question has 2 marks, right? So total is 6 marks. Check whether the student has answered the questions correctly, generate a report in the form of a report card, which shows the marks, where the student went wrong, etc. Write comments in more detail. So basically, we are asking it to provide a very personalized a review of these answers. So now let's look at it. So the first question, as we know, it was correct. So out of 6 marks, we got 2, because this for each question carries 2 marks, and ChatGPT was able to recognize that the solution is correct. However, in the second problem, if you remember, the student had found 2 as the answer, where in reality the answer was 1. So so the correct answer is 1. So here GPT did not award any marks because the student basically got it completely wrong in the simplification of the equation, because 3x plus 6, 3 into x plus 6 is 3x plus 18, which is 21. But the student wrote 3x equal to 6. That is wrong. And in the last question, 8x equal to 60, basically the student said x equal to 8. 8 is not correct answer. 7.5 is the correct answer. So here also the student was not awarded any mark, and student totally earned 2 out of 6. So this is what the student actually deserves, because these are simple math problems, out of which only 1 was correct. So overall, you can see the kind of personalized feedback that the GPT is giving, like ensure that you are expanding the brackets correctly as seen in the mistake in question B. So in the question B, you could see that, I hope you can see the question B here. When the student expanded the bracket and brought the 18 to the other side, right-hand side of the equation, they made a mistake. It should be 3x equal to 3, but instead the student has written 3x equal to 6. Now imagine as a teacher, you are correcting numerous number of mistakes like this for an exam. It's very, very exhausting. It's not a creative task to do. What you can do is you can basically outsource all of that task to an AI system like ChatGPT. All you need to do is take an effort in creating the digital version of the response sheet by scanning it or taking a photo of the sheet using your mobile phone. And overall, you can do whatever which will take you 5 to 6 hours. You can probably do it in 10 to 15 minutes. And ultimately, it can create a detailed analysis and report card. Now let's come to another example over here. So this is more about some kind of administrative tasks. So as teachers, your primary role is to be creative leaders in teaching the students, in helping them think creatively. But a lot of times your time is spent in administrative tasks like taking attendance, digitizing various documents, preparing lesson plans. Lesson plan preparation can be creative, but at the same time, a lot of times it is converted into an administrative task, creating timetable, etc. So now let's see one of the tasks. How can we kind of digitize it completely? So this is digitizing attendance. So first we wanted to try a demo here. So what we did is we had a whiteboard in our office. We just created a sample dummy attendance sheet. So we created a student name column. Student name, we just put that some dummy names, A, B, C, D, etc. We put a date and we put yes or no, which is for present or absent. Yes for present, no for absent. And we just wanted to see if ChatGPT could kind of digitize an attendance like this. And what we did is we uploaded the same thing in GPT-4 and asked the GPT-4 to digitize this particular attendance. So what all we did is we took a photo, we uploaded it here, and then you can see that basically GPT was able to completely digitize it. So here you can see the student name is there. This is as a, you can copy this code and paste it anywhere. You can paste it in Excel sheet. You can paste it in a text editor anywhere. So basically this entire photo is digitized. But this was only starting step. We wanted to know how a much more complex real attendance sheet, whether it can be correctly digitized by the ChatGPT or not. So what we did is when we visited one of the schools, they had this kind of an attendance register, which I hope you can see. There were around 29, 30 students, and this was for the month of June in this particular school. And you can see that they have a very unique way of denoting it. Maybe this is the way in which most of the schools are denoting the attendance. So they have every day, they have morning and afternoon, and P is for present. If you can read it, A for absent and L for late. So this is how they are denoting it. And you can see here, there are student names and there are 30 days here. And ultimately they are calculating number of days student was present, absent, and late. And based on this, the school can decide if they want to intimate the parents about the absence of students, etc. So what we did is we wanted to try digitizing this attendance sheet. And usually the way the school does this is some person, sometimes teacher, sometimes another admin person, they will sit down, they will try to convert this whole thing into an Excel sheet. The reason why this physical attendance sheet exists in the first place instead of digital is sometimes it's hard for you to take attendance in the classroom with a laptop. Like it's very difficult to mark present or absent. But if you have a attendance register, it's more easy. It's much more convenient. But it is not at all convenient to digitize this. But now let's see how ChatGPT does the same thing. So we just took a screenshot of the attendance sheet, only part of it, because otherwise in the demo, it will take time, right? So we just wanted to check it. So we took the screenshot of first 13 students over the first few days. And we wanted to kind of see how ChatGPT can digitize this. So first we said, convert to a table, denote the percentage attendance, the days marked as P, and we asked them to ask the GPT to create a table. So then GPT was able to create a table like this, as you can see, first column, second column, attendance, percentage, etc. And the beautiful thing about this kind of a table is you can go to Google Sheets and you can copy this entire table and you can basically paste it in the Google Sheet. So it will automatically get converted into a digital format. So you can format it in whatever way you want, and you can know which students are falling behind in attendance, which students are actually having very high attendance. So if some schools actually put attendance as some part of the final grade, so 10% of the mark is corresponding to attendance. Even at IIT Madras, we had a rule that minimum 85% attendance was required for many courses. In very rarely some courses the professors did not take attendance, but it's very important to track digitally the attendance even in schools and universities. And you can see how well ChatGPT is able to do that. And we also asked it to create a percentage, the list of present, absent, and late days like this. and calculate a percentage score based on that. And that also ChatGPT could do if when we just ask, hey, create additional columns for present, absent, and late. So you can basically see how a very complex attendance sheet like this is converted into a very useful digital format in just one line of text. And another very interesting example, which I'm sure all of you will relate with so much, is finally in the evaluation, in the personalization of evaluation or personalization of the report card. So what we mean by this is something completely subjective, which is like an essay. So I hope you can see this essay. So this is an English essay written by one of the students. I'll just read it. You yourself can notice a lot of mistakes. He was in blood on his hands and shirt. When the man come in, everyone look at him and we feel angry. There are already some grammar mistakes here. In the United States, so here United States, U and S should be capital. People are not allowed. Allowed has a missing L to killing others. We were all of shock, and somebody said, run away the man. He is dangerous. So dangerous spelling is completely wrong. So the child's is wrong. Children is the correct spelling. Went with his mother's, and I go climb up the tree to see what will happen next. I didn't kill her, he said, and started to crying. She was with fever and felt on the stone in the river. So it's not felt on the stone. That is again grammatic mistake. I loved my wife. So look at the way that this kid is jumping from one idea to the next, from falling into the river to loving my wife. It is an accident. Accident spelling is also wrong. So you can see that there are several issues with this essay. The number one issue is there are spelling mistakes. Number two, grammar mistakes. And third, lack of coherence between one sentence to the other. So if you are an English teacher who wants to evaluate this essay and create a personalized report for the student, you have to give a grading rubric. So you will have certain way in which you are reducing the marks. So if I were an English teacher and if this was an 8th standard student's paper, I will say reduce this is evaluated out of 100. I will say for every spelling mistake, reduce 5 marks. Every grammar mistake, reduce maybe 10 marks. And for every incoherent set of sentences, reduce 15 marks. I may say some rubric like this, and you can have your own rubric. All you need to do is like take a picture of this sheet, the answer sheet, and just upload it for evaluating. So here I said, this is an essay written by an 8th grade student. Why is this important? Because if this is an essay written by 1st standard student, this is actually a very, very good essay with all the spelling mistakes and all the grammar mistakes. So that context is very important. If you remember the prompt engineering covered by Dr. Rajat in the last class. So we had to provide the context. This is an 8th grade Indian student, because if this is an American student, maybe you have to evaluate it a bit more harshly because it's their native language. So here we say evaluate this essay out of 100 marks, reduce 1 mark for spelling, 2 marks for grammar, and 10 for every single incoherent set of sentences. And you can see that the GPT is able to capture all the spelling mistakes. Field should be felt. Childs should be children. Crying has a R missing. Accident is a wrong spelling, right? So minus 4 marks is reduced out of 100. It identified all the grammar mistakes that we also could manually identify. And then it could also find out that sentences were incoherent. So I had originally asked the GPT to reduce 10 marks for incoherent sentences, but GPT said there is a slight lack of clarity. However, the incoherence is not too pronounced to warrant a full 10 marks reduction. So they are only reducing 5 marks. So total, it reduced 23 marks. So out of 100, the student scored 77. Then I asked the ChatGPT, why do you think only 5 marks should be reduced? I think more marks should be reduced for incoherence. And then it said, yes, evaluation is certainly subjective. Let's reevaluate based on reducing 10 marks. And then the GPT reduced 10 marks for the incoherent sentences. So this is basically how, and then ultimately students scored 72 instead of 77 because they GPT reduced an additional 5 marks. So basically what this means is, irrespective of your grading rubric, as a teacher, you will have your own metric. You can implement that grading rubric by providing the rubric in the beginning itself. And GPT will create personalized reports. And ultimately, we can ask GPT to create this kind of a report. Feedback. The essay presents an interesting narrative. Students should focus on improving their spelling and grammar, which is correct, right? Additionally, working on ensuring the sequence of events in the narrative flows smoothly. Ensuring that the sequence of events flows smoothly. Absolutely correct, because a student was talking about falling into the river and then suddenly I love my wife, which was not connected with each other. So, but overall, there is merit in the writing, which is why the student ultimately scored 77 out of 100. So this is a very, very good personalized report. And imagine as a teacher, you can, you can not have to spend a lot of time like this repeatedly again and again and again. If there are 40 students in the class, you don't have to do this every single time. You can smartly use these AI tools that we are teaching to elevate your teaching level. So with that, we will conclude the grading part of it. And what we have showed today is just one aspect of it, right? Like you have your own creative ways of identifying, okay, I can use GPT in this application, So we highly encourage it even as an assignment to the next class to try evaluating something from your students using GPT-4. If you don't have GPT-4, we highly encourage you to take one license for your entire school and share it between share the login credentials between all the teachers. Now we will move on to the third section of today's talk, which Dr. Rajat will cover about creating documents and slides using GPT-4.
So before we move ahead, does anyone have any doubts or any questions with respect to the previous portion? Overall, we have covered how to use the image input feature for different purposes. For making the classroom sessions more creative, for grading papers, assignments, digitizing your attendance, for example.
Sure, sir. Can we get the answer in pictorial form in case of GPT
Uh,
version 4? Or
yes,
all the
actually.
answer,
So, yeah.
all the answer is in written format, text format.
No, there is, you can get output in the image format also. I will be demonstrating some examples of that in this section. So this was not available, I think, 2 weeks back, but then recently this version was released where ChatGPT 4 can be used to give images as outputs. So if you type a prompt that you want a specific image and you mention what all details you want in that image, then it will create that specific image for you. So we'll be demonstrating that shortly.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So if anyone has any doubt, please feel free to ask them. This is actually a very important lecture, and if you grasp these things properly and use it in the proper context, it can actually help you a lot in your teaching and learning process. So just stay attentive. Let's maybe take a 1 minute pause so that all of us can refresh ourselves before we start into the next section.
Like Canvas, sir, is there any other website where we can do multiple things like a video editing, video input,
So Canva is a website where you can make PowerPoint presentations, you can make images, you can even make videos. So
collage?
far, that is the best website which we have found for the same, and all of us use Canva very regularly.
So Canva is the best.
Yes, and there is a basic version of Canva which is free. Then there is a premium version in which you have to pay monthly. And the advantage of the premium version is that the number of images and videos that you get access to is much more. Okay, so I'm assuming that the things that were shown previously are clear to everyone.
Hello? Hello, sir.
Hello,
Hello.
yes, Rana sir, you are asking something?
Um, there is no any provision for that 3.5 to upload any image. Any image?
No. Actually, there is no provision for 3.5. You have to convert to 4 to have that provision.
Okay, at least new version is essential.
Yes. New version is essential, and I'll be showcasing some other things. And we have shifted to GPT-4, and we are using the same login among the three of us and our team.
Okay,
So
okay.
that is actually very useful. You can just have to purchase it once and share it among all the teachers.
Okay, well, as a institution, we can purchase it and we can.
Yes. As an institution, you can purchase only one login
Uh,
for itself, and all the teachers can use it.
okay.
So from our previous batches, actually, many schools have done that. They have purchased one login credentials for all the teachers and they have started using GPT-4 very regularly.
Okay. 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 Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now let us move on to the next part of the presentation. So in this section, I would basically like to explain two things. The first is plugins. So in ChatGPT 4, there is one major advantage, which is that of plugins. So let me show you exactly what I mean by that. Okay, so here at the top, if you go GPT-4, there is an option at bottom which says plugins. So I'm just going to click on that. Currently, it says no plugins installed. So when I click on that further and I go down, I go to the plugin store. I click OK. So here there are a number of plugins and we have explored almost all of them. I would just like to take you through the most important plugins. So there is a plugin called Doc Maker here, which you see over here in the bottom right corner, which is very important. Then apart from that, there is a plugin called Slide Maker, which is there here, Smart Slides. So I'll be explaining both these plugins right now. We have already installed it. That's why it's coming as uninstall in our case. So let me enable these plugins. So I'm going to enable Doc Maker. I'm going to enable Smart Slides. So let's say as a teacher, you want to create MCQs, you want to create lesson plans. And if you were paying attention to the last lecture, you might have noticed that the answers that the MCQs or the lesson plans give, they are taken from anywhere on the internet. They are not necessarily aligned with your curriculum. They are not aligned with the content that you are teaching. For example, if I'm teaching the chapter of photosynthesis and that is aligned with the specific CBSE syllabus, as a teacher, I would like to get lesson plans and MCQs which are focused on that syllabus. So I would not use GPT 3.5 for that purpose. So how to get lesson plans, how to get MCQs which are perfectly linked with your curriculum. And for that, GPT-4 is very useful. So let me give an example. Let's say I'm teaching the chapter of human eye. So let's say human eye NCRT PDF. So there is a link to this, right? So I'll copy this link, and what I'll say is that read this document, and then I'll say then read this document. So I think it uses Doc Maker to read this document. Okay, so now it has read the document and it actually summarizes, but I'll stop it here. I'll ask create 20 MCQs based on the document which you have just read. Now, the biggest advantage of this is that all these MCQs will be perfectly aligned to this document. So as a teacher, you can be sure that the questions which are coming and the answers which are coming, they are not coming from any place randomly from the internet, but they are perfectly aligned to the lesson that you are teaching. So here it's slowly going step by step. Now here you can be very creative. You can create a distinction between easy, medium, and hard. You can even create lesson plans which are aligned to this. So for example, just for the sake of this call, I am not using the typical prompt engineering prompt which I use, but I'll just type create a lesson plan on this just to demonstrate. Create a lesson plan on this same document. So ChatGPT actually goes ahead and creates a lesson plan which is perfectly aligned with this document itself. So there are two things that I want to demonstrate using this. First is what are plugins and how ChatGPT 4 has some very useful plugins which you can use. And Doc Maker is definitely one of them. Now, I'm going to show another example. Let me just pause this. So there is a plugin called Smart Slides here. Okay, so now let's say as a teacher, you want to create a PowerPoint presentation based on this topic. So I can say that create a 10 slide PPT on this document, make include images also. Make it very interesting and add detailed text in the slides. Sometimes we have seen that students are not engaged with the typical lesson plan. So they are more engaged if you show a great PowerPoint presentation. So now what it does is that first it uses DocMaker and then it will use the slide maker also to create a PowerPoint presentation. So it has created a detailed PowerPoint presentation. Let me click on the download button. So this I can actually download and I can open it in PowerPoint. So this is the preview which it's showing me. So let me, yeah. So if you look at how the PPT has been created, it's first of all, the design is very good and the slides which are there in this PPT are perfectly aligned with the content. So for example, you can see it starts with introduction to the human vision, then anatomy of the human eye, how we see image formation, power of accommodation, common vision defects, correcting vision defects, the magic of prisms, why two eyes, etc. Now, one thing I'm not satisfied with is that there are no images in this document. It's just text. So what I can do is that I can ask ChatGPT that there are no images. Include images also. So I think what they have done, yeah. So now it uses smart slides because now I've asked it to create images. So DocMaker and Smart Slides both can be used to create PPTs, but the PPTs created using Smart Slides are much more engaging compared to DocMaker. So if you click on this down arrow, you can actually see what it's doing internally. So that's why it's taking time because it's going through all the slides separately and it's creating these slides individually. And because we have asked it to include a lot of text, it generally spends some time. But spending 1 or 2 minutes on slides is much better than spending half an hour or maybe 2 3 hours to create this slideshow. Generally, it takes a lot of time to even think of starting to create a presentation. If you are at a conference or if you are speaking at some event and you want to create some slides, this is the perfect way to do that actually. So now we have used smart slides and let's see, download PowerPoint presentation with images. So it's taking some time to download. Okay, so till that time we are on this. Let me actually try to show you one more thing of ChatGPT, which actually was released quite recently, which is to build your own GPT, which is called GPT Builder. So if you go to this option, which is Explore, in this Explore, there is a thing called Create GPT. So I'm just going to click on that. And again, this version, this feature is available only with ChatGPT 4. So GPT Builder, why it was released by ChatGPT? This was released by OpenAI quite recently. It's because there were several developers and several creators, educators who wanted to customize ChatGPT for their own purposes. So, for example, let's say if I want to create a GPT, which is okay. So let me first show this presentation since it's ready right now. So you can see here it has added a lot of images, introduction, anatomy, how we see a power of accommodation, common vision defects, correcting vision defects, etc. So a slide maker and doc maker, these are two plugins which are to be used for this purpose. So now let me come back to creating your own GPT builder, and why is it useful? So let's say I want to create a GPT which is which knows everything about sky and constellations and the skies above us. I want to build this GPT myself, and I want to show it to my students. So so that the students can ask any questions about constellations in the sky, and the GPT can give them the answer. The advantage of this over chat GPT is that this will be something which will be very specific to that particular topic, so it's like an expert in that topic. So let's see. So now what I'm going to say is that I want to create a GPT who is an expert in astronomy, who knows everything about stars, planets, and constellations. This expert talks to students in a very friendly way and explains everything about the skies in a fun way. So now it's actually going ahead and building the GPT for you. Okay, so now it asks what is the name of the GPT. So let me give it some random name. Let's say Sky Teacher. So it actually generates a profile picture based on that. So if you see the preview on the right, this is how our GPT is going to look like to the public. So this link can actually be released by you to the public, and they can use it for their own purposes. So you can see we have created our own GPT. The name is Sky Teacher, friendly astronomy expert, making the cosmos fun and accessible. So I can say that this is good. Great. Now let's refine the context. What specific topics or areas on astronomy should it emphasize or avoid? For example, should it focus more on celestial phenomena, space missions, or the history of astronomy? So I think it should focus more on space missions and the history of astronomy. So now it again updates the GPT. And okay, so for the next step, should Sky Teacher ask for a clarification if a user's question is unclear? Yes, it should always ask for clarifications. So now it is again updating the GPT, and on the right hand side you can see that our preview is already ready. Lastly, let's personalize. How would you like it to talk? Should it be more casual language? It should be a fun language which the students will enjoy, and it should have a lot of humorous elements in the Indian context. Okay, so this is the final step in which we have asked it to. We are describing the tone of the GPT which we wanted to have. So now it's again updating the GPT. And after that, we'll see how to publish our own GPT and how to share it with people. So now it's done. Sky Teacher is now fine-tuned to engage with students with a fun and a humorous approach in the Indian context. Feel free and engage with you. Okay, so at the top, you can see there is an option of save. And I can say public here, and I can say confirm. After I do this, there will be a link which will be generated, and can say confirm. Okay, so now this is the Sky teacher which is there with me. If you share this with people, they'll be able to see something like this. Okay, now as a student, let's see how different this is. So let's say I say, tell me about stars. So then Sky teacher will say, these stars, those twinkling little dots in the night sky. And then basically, however we have customized this GPT, it will give the answer. And you can see it has aligned it with the Indian context also. In India, stars have a special place in our culture, right? We have got stories about the Saptarshi collection constellation, also known as the Big Dipper, and how it's connected to the pole star, which is the Dhruva Tara. Let's not forget Jyotisha, traditional Hindu system of astrology, where stars play a key role. So I can ask this Sky teacher anything, and it will give me all the information about constellations on Earth. So it allows you to build your own GPT, and depending on the kind of subjects that you are teaching, you can actually build a GPT. You can take it to your class and interact with your students about that GPT. What this will do is that this will achieve two things. Firstly, it will involve your students a lot. It will make your students very interested in whatever you are teaching, and secondly, it will allow the students to learn the topic in a very, very interesting manner. These are the two big advantages of creating your own GPT or creating your own chatbot using this. So overall in this section, we have learned three things. We have learned firstly uh, to use the plugins. We have seen two plugins. We have seen Smart Slides and we have seen Doc Maker. The biggest advantage of these plugins is that you can create lesson plans, MCQs, which are tailored to your own curriculum. So they are extremely useful from that point of view. The second is you can create your own chatbots. You can create your own GPT guides, which can take students along some journey and you can interact with them in a very fun way. These are some examples which are made by OpenAI. You can see there are many things. There is a sous chef. It says, I'll give you recipes based on the foods you have loved and ingredients you have. Then there is a math mentor. I help parents help their kids with maths. Need a 9 p.m. refresher on geometry proofs? I'm here for you. So there are multiple things which people have done using this GPT builder, and sky is the limit with respect to this. One of the things we have seen in India is that not a lot of teachers are familiar with this at all. So I believe you are one of the first few batches who are made aware of all these things, and it really depends on how creatively you use all this information that is available to you. As I said, this is something which was released quite recently, last month itself, and we have used it for various purposes. So we really encourage teachers in this call to start using these tools at the earliest. Now, let's see how you can create images using ChatGPT, which is actually quite simple. Uh, so let's say I want to create an image on solar system. It's really simple actually. You just have to type the prompt, whatever image you want to create, and then it can create that image for you. And the more specific you are in your prompt, the better is the response that you will get. So you can see here, there is an image which has come depicting the solar system with all 8 planets orbiting the sun. So I can say that add text for labels for each planet. I'm really not sure if this will work or not, but let's see. ChatGPT 4 is great for creating images with text also, which is way better than other platforms that we have used. Now, if you have GPT-4, then you can completely get rid of Google. Google images have become a thing of the past. The reason is that AI can be used to create any kind of images. So now at least here I have given some proper prompt. Okay, so it has labeled all the planets also. Wonderful. So now let's say I want to create some funny image. Let's say tiger, create an image of a tiger eating burger on a beach. So now this is something which Google cannot do. Only AI can do this because we are placing things in different context and we are stitching them together in one single context. So you can see that it's now creating an image of a tiger eating burger on a beach. So here it is. If you are not satisfied with this image, you can ask it to create another version. So let's try to create an image after with the help of all of you on the call. Just give me a name of an animal, the name of a place, and name of an activity, and we'll try to see what kind of images ChatGPT comes up with. So just type in the chat. It can be anything, name of an animal, a place, and an activity. We will try to see if ChatGPT is able to create images based on it. So I would expect everyone to write something. Just tell us something. Yes, Shridath has typed a duck hiking on Mount Everest, and Purushottas. Okay, so let me just type elephant playing football. Rana sir has typed a pig flying in a spacecraft. Okay, let me try that as well. Okay, so you can see a elephant is playing football now. Pig flying. If anyone wants to suggest anything, just type in the chat. Prakash sir has typed Kangaroo versus Tiger World Cup cricket match final. Sir, please don't bring back those memories again. It was a very hard match to watch. Okay, so here we have pig flying in a spacecraft. It's it's very comical actually, but it's amazing to see how much AI can be accurate. So now kangaroo versus create image. Kangaroo versus Tiger World Cup cricket match final. Okay. And finally, I'll create duck hiking on Mount Everest. Let's see how that comes up. So this will be interesting. World Cup cricket match final, Kangaroo versus Tiger. Okay, great. So
Hello, sir.
yes, Rana sir.
Sir, what is that Dali? Dali? Then it is same.
It is the same. So DALI is OpenAI's software which they have used to create these images. Yeah. So at the back end of creating these images, DALI is being used. So now we see a duck which is hiking on Mount Everest, complete with hiking gear and an adventurous spirit, and you can directly download this. So you can see at the top there is a download option. So directly I have downloaded it and I can use it anywhere I want. And just see the quality of this. However, I zoom in, it's not getting blurred that much. Excellent quality. If anyone has any other ideas, please type it in the chat. But basically, we are showing this not because it's for fun or for enjoying, but it has a lot of relevance in education setting also. If you are trying to teach, let's say, if I'm trying to teach English to a student, and if I show them the image of this duck, I ask them, what is happening in this picture? How has the duck landed here? What is the story behind this? So they'll be forced to think, they'll be forced to learn about completing phrases to join sentences together. Maybe they'll say that the duck has fought with his parents and wants to go on a solo trip. So he has packed his bags and going on a trip to Mount Everest. Whatever, but students will be forced to think and create their own sentences. There are wonderful applications in other fields also. So Kuldeep sir has said Haina doing experiment in science lab. So let's see what it gives. So this is an example of a hyena doing an experiment in a science lab. Let's say you are not satisfied with this. You can say that I'm not satisfied. Create 3 more. So the prompt engineering remains the same. The only difference is that the output will be produced in an image format instead of a text. Does anyone have any doubts or any questions? The power of this is really amazing, as all of you might have witnessed right now. But it really depends how creatively you use all these tools. So last day before yesterday, one teacher or she was a principal from our previous batches. She had called us and said that they are going to they have an exhibition day, and for that exhibition day, they are going to create a separate room for AI, in which she is planning to showcase all these different applications to the world. So there are several things which we have seen teachers and principals have started to do now using AI. This is just one example. This was really not possible 1 year ago. It was impossible to imagine something like this. But just seeing the power of how realistic these images look, just have a look at the realism of these images. It is extremely realistic, which is what makes it very powerful. So this brings us to the end of today's lecture. We have discussed several things. Mainly, we have discussed the use of GPT-4 for different applications, for creating images, for creating lesson plans, MCQs aligned with your curriculum, for building your own GPTs, for digitizing attendance in administrative tasks, for grading papers, for using image input for creative ways of storytelling, and the applications are limitless. So if you have mastered, if you have really understood this later, and if you take time to practice and master all of these applications, then you will be a teacher who will be better than, I would say, 99% of your peers. So
Hello, sir.
we would again encourage everyone.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
yes.
sir. Um, are there any free plugins for 3.5 so that we can practice?
No, so actually you have to purchase a GPT-4 only, sir. There is no free plugin for 3.5. It has to be GPT-4 only.
At least
You
anything
can,
or any when plugins and all for practicing or
uh,
if
no.
you will.
Yes, so there is one. Yes, there is one website called Playground AI for image generation. This is free. It doesn't require you to use ChatGPT. We have typed the link in the chat. We can cover this at the beginning of the next lecture also if you require.
Okay,
Here,
okay.
you can use this for practicing creating images. So and this is for free.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So one thing you might have noticed that currently the tech has not evolved that much that we are able to create full-length videos based on the text input. But that will also come soon, and we will update all the teachers if that feature is released anytime soon.
Sir, from the video, I understand. Does it make any video also?
No, currently it does not make any video, sir. That is not yet done by AI yet. But we are slowly reaching there because already images are being made and PowerPoint presentations are being made. So we are just one step away from reaching the videos stage as well. But that is still somewhat into the future. That has not been released yet by either OpenAI or Google. So there is a competitor to GPT-4 which is called Gemini by Google, but that has not yet been released. So no one knows how good it is in terms of capabilities.
So Bard is what is
Bard
Gemini?
is also there. Bard, yes, Bard is decent, but we prefer GPT-4 a lot because it is very robust and very reliable. So our team, we now regularly use GPT-4 because it reduces a lot of time actually, and it helps us in a lot of different things. Even when you're drafting emails, we don't use GPT 3.5 now. We have gotten used to GPT-4 itself.
Okay.
All right, everyone. If you have any doubts or questions, just type it in WhatsApp. If you use GPT-4 for any interesting applications, usually in our batches, teachers keep on posting what all they did. So we are expecting to hear from you.
Sir, one more question.
Yeah.
Sir, as we had some science teacher here. Excuse me. We are science teacher here.
Correct.
If we want to, I mean, there is a science exhibition coming on. So, does it give any science exhibition experiment?
Yes.
Or does
So there is one example I have to share actually. There was a school in Mumbai whom we were discussing with, and they also had a science exhibition coming up. And we use ChatGPT to brainstorm about ideas of basic physical models that can be showcased in the science exhibition. And there was an idea of a synthetic tree. So synthetic tree are actually trees which are not natural, but still they can be used to absorb CO2. It is still a futuristic concept, but it was suggested by ChatGPT, and then we looked it up on the internet and we found out ways to create model of that synthetic tree, and they actually won the first prize in that exhibition. So you can use GPT 3.5 also for this purpose. Actually, if you have a science exhibition coming up, you can use it to brainstorm ideas and even ask it, okay, what all materials I need to construct this? What is the step-by-step procedure, etc.
okay?
Yeah.
Sir, just I missed out how to create the new GPT. Is it possible to have a glance? Just look at a glance.
I did not hear you, sir. Can you say that again, please?
So you were showing the demonstration about to create a GPT, new
Yes.
GPT. So just I missed out that one. So is it possible to have just look at a
Yes.
glance?
So GPT-4, yeah, so there is, let me quickly go through it in 2-3 minutes.
Yes.
So there is this option of explore. And when you
Explore. Yes,
explore,
explore.
there is an option of create a GPT.
Yes, sir.
And then you have to go through all these questions. So we will share the recording of today's lecture. You can clearly see we have created a GPT called Sky Teacher. And this is what is the output, which comes at the end. Sky Teacher. Friendly astronomy expert making the cosmos fun and accessible. So this is what we created, but the process is very simple. You have to go through this and then you have to tell it that I want to create whatever you want to create. So there is, you just have to answer the questions that it asks and it creates the GPT for you.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, all right, everyone. Thank you so much for attending the lecture. If anyone has any more doubts, just message us on the WhatsApp group.
Sure.
Thank you, teachers. Have a good rest of the weekend.
Okay, bye everyone. Thank you. Bye.